Good day. There's another May Yul-Edochie that they don't want you to know about, and I want to share that with you. There's another May Yul-Edochie that they don't want you to know about. Welcome back, Prestige family. As usual, we come here, we extract real life, relationship, marriage lessons from trendy topics, okay? And we focus on social self, seduction, power, dynamics, emotional intelligence, more importantly, standpoint. Okay, so I might not say things you like to hear, and I don't necessarily want you to take mine. I want to rub minds together with you. And so make sure you're always joining the conversation in the comment section. So there's another May Yul-Edochie, another Queen May Yul-Edochie that they don't want you to know about. I want to share that with you today. But in what respect? And who is Queen May Yul-Edochie, by the way? She's the ex-wife to be of Yul-Edochie, who is Nigerian Nollywood actor, okay? And in the last 3 years, they've had quite a tumultuous social media, dramatic, in their lives. They lost their marriage. I would probably say it's even more accurately that Yul-Edochie lost his marriage, but they lost their child in the middle of all that. They try to troll and make it look like, Yul-Edochie and his side chick / second wife, by the way, they've denied that they're married in the court system. They trolled the whole thing and tried to make it look like they were just chasing clouds. I called that out a long time ago, like, no, this is real, And I also made it clear that this guy is not a polygamist. He's trying to flip cheating into polygamy, and that's not always a good thing. At least most people that do polygamy, that's what they did. But at least at some point you have to clean it up and say, hey, yeah, she was a side chick. Not exactly saying it that way, but at least not try to control the narrative and try to cajole people into what is not. That's what he tried to do. And I called that out as soon as he announced that he had a new son from a second wife. I was like, nah, this guy is trying to formulate what is not, okay? And unfortunately, people that discount emotions, they will always collect. The biggest secret, biggest variable in all of this is emotions, and particularly emotional intelligence, okay? So now let's talk about it. Who is this new Queen May Yul-Edochie that nobody is talking about, right? She's not that popular. She's not that popular for the same characteristics that you all really, really celebrate about Queen May Yul-Edochie, right? So some of you are like, oh, I speak blunt, I speak as it is, I speak the truth. I don't like people that sit on the fence because somehow you think you're wiser. I understand. It's not every time that you have to be diplomatic, but for the most part, if you're just very loud and you're blunt and you're probably just going to give people ammunitions to destroy you. That's part of power intelligence, okay? So sometimes you have to check some people. For the most part, like if all you do, if most of your power is just talking, quote unquote, talking truth, you'll miss it because you probably have nothing. You're giving what you don't have, essentially. You haven't even paying attention to it. But what is this characteristics of May Yul-Edochie that we're talking about? Many of you celebrate her because she's quiet, she moves silently, and that usually means wisdom, moving in wisdom, right? Usually, not always. Some people are just doormats, okay? So don't get me wrong here. But for the most part, if all you do is just how to speak truth and blunt, you're probably just blabbing nonsense and you're just wasting breath, okay? And many of you practice relationship in that manner, okay? And you wonder why you're not getting the results you're looking for because you talk too much, okay? You talk too much, that's why, okay? But what is this characteristics again? She moves silently. She moves with wisdom. I think she's made maybe 2 statements ever. One of them being, she told the guy, like, can you stop dragging our family in public? She told Yul-Edochie, the ex-husband to be, right? And then another statement, I think she made it clear that she does not want to be a part of a polygamy because it was basically proposing to her to be a part of a polygamy, right? Remember I told you he was trying to flip cheating, right? Cheating for straight 5 years. I covered that in the last video. He was trying to flip that into polygamy because he had a baby on her, but he couldn't. But anyway, she came out outrightly say, hey, I don't judge anybody. I'm not telling you not to do what you want to do, but I don't want to be a part of polygamy. And anyone can respect that. And then people wonder why is he getting dragged? Because he talks too much. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. If you talk too much, you will give away yourself. You will tell on yourself. All right, so that particular part of you, Queen May, that she's very silent, right, is now creating all the successes that she's getting right now. I think she might be in Houston now. She's moving, like she's getting all this endorsement and stuff like that, without having to be the one to tell her own story. Other people are doing it for her, okay? And people are celebrating her for that, and I think that's something applaudable, right? So who is this other person that actually experienced something slightly similar? Okay, she's an actress. She was also married to a director. Okay, and this is the story we have out there, right? This guy, somehow something happened to their marriage earlier on. She's in her around 40s now, between 40 and 45 years old. Something happened to their marriage. The guy basically said one day, according to her story, he said one day he was going to go visit his mother with the child, the only one child they had at the time. That was 16 years ago. Okay, and they had that one child, and he said we're going to, and then he never came back. And then she would call. He would said, "Let me call you back." And then this is according to her story, right? He would say, "Let me call you back," and never pick up the phone for another 3 to 4 months. Crazy, right? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Doris Simeon. I'm talking about the story of Doris Simeon, Daniel Ademinokon, and a third party who ended up becoming a wife, who has actually ended up being treated the same way. And we're talking about Stella Damasos. Okay, so now that was around 3 years old. So 16, the boy is 16 years old now, at this point, at press time, and that was about 13 years ago. By the time the boy was 4 years old, right, that's 12 years ago, they had moved with her son to America. Okay, and it looks to me like for the first time, she might have one other floating interview out there on the internet, but the first time she's actually speaking a little bit about it on Biola's show. And you could tell she's whispering, and she was still trying not to talk too much because she was trying to protect the child. Some of you will be like, no, she should just speak our truth. You see, you don't understand. See, once you get exposed out here, especially with this monitoring spirits all over the place on the internet, you can't bring it back. So that's something that Yul-Edochie will not understand, right? You have less control. The more you try to control narrative, the less control you actually have. If anything, you're creating more destruction. You're destroying your reputation, and people now have to manage that. Your other relationships have to manage your reputation. Like, for example, you see Yul-Edochie dragging his own brother, dragging his own father, and things like that. And they have to manage all of that energy you're creating, because the more exposure, the more attention you bring on this kind of, the more people have to manage, right? So, in my opinion, Doris Simeon is another Queen May Yul-Edochie. I don't know too much about her, but with respect to this particular story, the fact that she's not doing a lot of talking, she wasn't innocent. She made that clear. Nobody ever said Queen May was innocent either, but nobody's innocent in this life. But if you have people that just talk too much in the name of, I want to tell my story, Gen Zs or Gen Z generation or millennials or Gen X that live like they're in Gen Z generation, because you have internet in front of you, you want to record everything, you just want to talk, right? You want to jump on platform and just talk anyhow without considering what are the end result of saying all this stuff out there. The only thing you can see is that you're telling the truth. The reality is that you're only telling your truth, because you haven't even taken enough time to be listening. You don't take enough time to listen to what else is going on. What are the other variables beyond just my truth? No, it's not my truth, Allah. It is the truth. No, you're a liar. Maybe unintentional liar. There's so many other factors, and at some point you do have to speak, but make sure you're listening long enough. That's really the key lesson here. Active listening. Just as much as I preach emotional intelligence, you can't really do emotional intelligence. The action phrase there is active listening. Listen long enough. What is long enough? I don't know. It depends on the story, okay? Depends on the story, okay? But unless you really, really need to speak out, maybe your mental health is at stake and you feel like if you don't speak, sometimes you get into that space. Maybe you feel like you're hearing voices in your head and you must say something. I can respect that. But at that point, honestly, you should be speaking to someone that can professionally help you within a controlled environment. So in my opinion, I think Doris Simeon is another person that's actually done a great job at not throwing the whole family under the bus because she feels some type of way. I want to know your thoughts around this. What do you think? Am I on point? Because you guys know the stories more than me. Let me know what else about this story that you know. But the main lesson I wanted to extract there is active listening. This is not you being a doormat. You're not being dumb. You're just listening longer before you talk. You want to understand what you're speaking to before you talk, right? So that you can actually create the transformation you're looking for. Speaking of transformation, I can help you get the transformation you're looking for in your relationship and love life, especially if you feel like it's broken. If you go into the description box below, you'll see links to